Hello and welcome to this week's Tech News. I'm your host Izet, and today we're going to be looking at AMD's Radeon RX 6000 series and Ryzen 5000 series shortage caused by Apple and consoles, a short review on the AMD RX 6900 XT, a look on the MSI Twin Fan series, and Intel Core i7 Tiger Lake H processor spotted within Asus TUF gaming notebook. Now, as always, I would like to remind everyone to like our Facebook page at Build Digital Enterprise, as we have weekly deals there at cost-effective prices. So if you want to get started on building yourself a PC, then head over to our page and we'll lend you a hand and provide you with the best we can. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, or TSMC, a company that processes wafers in order to make chips, can process a relatively limited number of wafers using its leading-edge 5nm and 7nm process technologies. Therefore, all of TSMC's clients that need those nodes sign wafer purchase agreements to allocate a certain number of contract wafers per quarter. And as of fourth quarter in 2020, all of TSMC's 5nm and 7nm capacities have been booked, according to a report from Commercial Times. It is stated that TSMC is contracted to ship 150,000 wafers containing A14 system-on-chips for the iPhone 12 and iPad Air 4, and 18,000 wafers for the M1 processors for the latest Macs in the fourth quarter in 2020. AMD also had a play in this, as of in third and fourth quarter of 2020, the company has to supply certain pre-ordered 7nm system-on-chips for Microsoft's Xbox Series XS, as well as Sony's PlayStation 5 game consoles. The agreement with its console partners means that the production of their system-on-chips is prioritized over its own CPUs and GPUs in order for Microsoft and Sony to keep up with the growing demands of their game consoles. In addition, as stated by a tweet from NerdTech, a total of 120,000 wafers is to be shipped for the two game consoles in the fourth quarter of 2020, 80,000 for the PS5 and 40,000 for the Xbox Series XS. And with AMD's contracted 7nm system-on-chips allocation to be about 150,000, this means that 80% of AMD's wafers will be used for the consoles. In other news, on the 8th of December, AMD has released the newest member of its Radeon RX 6000 series. And since then, multiple reviews have been released for the new RX 6900 XT, and based on those reviews, it is an upgrade compared to the previous generations in terms of performance. But is it worth spending $1,000 on? Some of the reviews include from PC World's senior editor, Brad Chacos, stating that it is blisteringly fast but very niche. Hot Hardware's Marco Schiapetta describing it as the most powerful Radeon ever, and Tom's Hardware's Jared Alton stating how it is powerful and pricey. One of the key specs of the RX 6900 XT is the Navi 21 GPU that uses the RDNA 2 architecture. While the Navi 21 GPU has already been debuted in the previous Radeon RX 6800 and 6800 XT, the RX 6900 XT's GPU comprises of 80 compute units as opposed to the RX 6800 XT's 72 computing units, as well as a total of 5,120 stream processors, an 11% increase over the RX 6800 XT, in addition to the increase of ray accelerator and texture field rate counts. Compared to the RX 6800 XT, the clock speeds, both average and boosted, remains the same at 2015 MHz and 2250 MHz respectively, as well as the same 16GB of GDDR6 memory. Tom's Hardware has performed tests in which the results are presented in the form of gaming benchmarks. On an average of 13 games, frames per second wise, while the RTX 3090 outperforms the RX 6800 XT in 4K, overclocking the RX 6800 XT lets it outperform the RTX 3090 in 1440p and 1080p. In the case of ray tracing, however, it's safe to assume that Nvidia will be in the lead for the time being. Tom's Hardware has performed tests regarding this section, with 10 games being the subject of the test. It seems that the RX 6900 XT still has ways to go in ray tracing, even with 10% more shader cores. Now, while ray tracing is generally preferred to be turned off in multiplayer to make the most out of frame per second, it shouldn't be overlooked as ray tracing effects are still rising in demand, especially in single player modes. In my opinion, it might not be a good idea to buy the RX 6900 XT, especially knowing that there is a cheaper alternative in the market in the form of the RX 6800 XT. With most of the specs being similar compared to the RX 6800 XT, the few key differences provide only slight upgrades. For instance, it is only 6.7% faster at 4K and 4.2% faster at 1440 resolution, while costing 53% more. And while the RX 6900 XT can go neck to neck with the RTX 3090, especially for the 1440p high refresh gaming, it is to be reminded that it has mediocre performance in ray tracing compared to the RTX 3090, although it saves $500 in the process. In short, bang for buck, the RX 6800 XT should be the better choice compared to the RX 6900 XT. That is, provided if you can get your hands on it. Next, we will be taking a look at the new MSI Twin Fan series. A week after MSI has announced the Premium Supreme series, which is for the RTX 3090, RTX 3080, and RTX 3070, MSI launched a budget series called Twin Fan, which, for the time being, is only for the RTX 3070. While it is uncertain what the Twin Fan is the successor of, it does appear that it might be the successor to the TOC series. MSI has announced two Twin Fan graphic cards, one with factory overclocking to 1740 MHz, while the other with Nvidia preference specs. Surprisingly, both are featuring custom PCB with 8-pin plus 6-pin power connectors. Leaks have revealed that MSI will bring the same design to the RTX 3060 Ti models, which is also based on the GA104 GPU, just with fewer cores. Based on the RTX 3070 Twin Fan's main page itself, it is said to be powered by Ampere, Nvidia's 2nd gen RTX architecture. Built with enhanced RT cores and tensor cores, new streaming multiprocessors, and high-speed G6 memory, it gives you the power you need to rip through the most demanding games. In other news, with the fact that Intel plans to launch Tiger Lake H family of 10nm mobility CPUs in the first quarter of 2021, more and more information about the lineup from Intel has been released. One of the information being that Asus has planned for the integration of the Tiger Lake H family into their products, and so far, at least 2 gaming notebooks has been leaked to possess the mentioned CPUs. It is listed by retailers that there are 2 Asus TUF Gaming, as well as a single Asus ZenBook variant with Intel's Core i7 11th Gen Tiger Lake CPU. However, as of now, only the first model of the TUF Gaming is shown to come with the GeForce RTX 3060 6GB graphic card, while the GPUs for the other 2 models are not specified yet. The ZenBook is listed for a price of €1,421, while the TUF Gaming model with the unspecified GPU is listed for €1,400. The Tiger Lake H family is expected to max out at 8 cores and 16 threads. In addition to that, it will also be based on the 10nm Willow Cove cores that feature higher IPC than the older Skylake based mobility CPUs for the enthusiast segment. As such, we can expect some big gains from Intel in the upcoming generation, giving us a first look at what 10nm could do in the high performance segment. On a more controversial topic, on the 11th of December, Hardware Unboxed was banned from receiving GeForce Founders Edition GPU review samples. Nvidia's justification for the ban was, as stated in their now retracted email signed by Nvidia's Director of Global PR, Brian Del Rizzo, that their review of the GPUs focuses on the rasterization performance and not on the strength of the GPUs, which is ray tracing. Linus of Linus Tech Tips discussed this issue on the latest episode of The One Show on his YouTube channel and was highly critical of Nvidia's response towards Hardware Unboxed. Popular reviewers such as Jay's 2 Cents and Gamers Nexus have also disapproved of Nvidia's actions, and many other reviewers and websites have also taken Hardware's Unboxed side in this matter. As the public outcry raged on, Nvidia apologized for their mistakes and has now walked everything back, as tweeted by Hardware Unboxed on 12th of December. 2 days later, Stephen Walton of Hardware Unboxed released a video on their YouTube channel, going into details on what has transpired. And if you want to hear the details and his thoughts on the matter, check out his video by clicking on the link below. The emails lamenting on the review focusing on rasterization and wanting Hardware Unboxed to change their editorial direction seems to imply that Nvidia is trying to push the narrative in their favor, which is highly unprofessional. In addition, Steve mentioned that Linus on The One Show said that this matter appears personal, as he does not believe that Brian Del Rizzo would say this. It was suspected that the Nvidia PR team was the one that drafted the email, and with Steve stating that at least one Nvidia PR employee that dislikes hardware unboxing, Linus' allegations might hold true. If true, however, this does not clear out Brian Del Rizzo's name, as his mishandling of the email by signing it off and sending it to Hardware Unboxing was handled incompetently. Well, that is all from us today. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you enjoyed your time here, consider subscribing. It's free and takes 2 seconds. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.